Good evening again. I was so excited about the last video I just did that while it's uploading right now, I jumped onto my bookshelf, grabbed a book, went on to CNN, got some stuff together, because I want to do another video, but it's not going to be part 16B. It's totally different. What I want to do is attack the same sort of topic, matriarchy and gender roles and sex and stuff like that. But when I rewatched the video, in case I needed to edit it, I noticed I had mentioned something about vaginas. But I ran out of time and I didn't have enough time to cover that. Well, here I'm about to. So this video is for women, primarily, but it's also for the men watching as well. So we're going to start with recapping recent events. And I have it here, CNN.com. Lisa Brown, who is a Michigan representative in the 39th district, last week, of course this is news now, everybody's heard of this, but I just want to recap. She was banned from speaking on the House floor for saying the word vagina. And when I first heard this, I'm like, no, the media has taken this and that's so exaggerated. The media did what the media does and that can't be accurate. Well, apparently it is. So, what she said, the part that bothered the most people was the part where she says, I'm flattered that you're all so interested in my vagina, but no means no. I haven't watched the video, but I assume she was talking about rape or something like that. No means no, or maybe just women having control of their own bodies. I don't know. So, originally she thought that she had said something regarding her Jewish values, and that was what got people all riled up and got their panties in a twist. But apparently that wasn't it. It was the fact that she'd said vagina. And again, I'm like, that can't be right. But the person, where is it? What's his name? Representative Mike Calton told the press that what she said was so vile and disgusting that he could never bear to mention it in front of women or mixed company. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure every woman knows the word vagina, and regardless of that, vagina is the medically correct term. The medically correct term? I know not many people use the medically correct terms nowadays. They go for the slang, which I'm not going to talk about because this is YouTube and I want to keep it sort of family friendly in case there's kids watching. But apparently, now let's take a moment to just process that. She said vagina, nothing else, and she got banned from speaking. Now, normally, given the context of what she was talking about women's issues in a room dominated by men. Speaking about women's issues, abortion, contraception, things like that. Legitimate women's issues, not tampons or pads and menstruation. The shit that really determines women's reproductive freedom in this country. Abortion and contraception and things like that. And I'm not as much bothered by the fact that it's a room full of men. Hello, where are the women? There are some women. Another woman was also barred, one of her colleagues. Where are the women? Where are the females? Have they all been banned like Sandra Fluke a few months ago, who had she had a great I don't remember everything she said, but I supported what she said. I thought she had a great argument and reasons for believing in contraception, like the availability of contraception. Why are all these women getting booed and banned and called whores and harlots by intellectuals such as Rush Limbaugh? The thing that bothers me the most about this, like I said, is not the room full of men, which ticks me off because, again, why aren't women allowed to speak on women's issues? It's just the men who have a say. The thing that bothered me the most was the men, these men who are so appalled that she said vagina. These are the men that are making laws for our vaginas. That's the part that makes me the maddest. A woman was banned from speaking because she said the word vagina in a room dominated by male politicians. These are the male politicians who are making laws and deciding for us what we should be allowed to do with our vaginas and concerning our vaginas and related to our vaginas. If you can't say the word vagina without getting the men all flustered, maybe these aren't the men we should have making laws for us. Don't you think? I'm sure many of you agree. If you don't, I'm interested to know why you don't agree. Because I feel that logic that took me a whole 30 seconds to deduce, and I'm not tooting my own horn here, I'm being serious. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out, that if you can't say vagina, a medically correct term, in the House of Representatives or in Congress or wherever you are, regarding female reproductive issues, political issues, if you can't say vagina without the men getting all flustered and upset and, oh my god, I would never say that in front of women or mixed company. That was disgusting and vile. Wait a second, you're the guy that's trying to illegalize available contraception or free contraception. You're the guy that's trying to get abortion illegalized? I'm sorry, but your business is vaginas. The conclusion I come to is that, I'm sorry guys, but that men are threatened by vaginas. No abortion, no birth control. Don't say vagina, it's a bad thing. We're making rules to repress that vagina. Don't say vagina. That's literally the conclusion I come to. It's the abridged conclusion I come to. My husband agrees. I wish he was here right now to talk about this with me, but he's still at work. My brothers agree with me. Yeah. See, it's not just a vaginal issue. Penises can have these opinions too, and they do. They support us. The men actually, obviously not these guys. Some men, like my husband and my brothers, I haven't talked to my dad about this, but they agree. Men, as a gender, as a whole, in general, are threatened by femininity and women and femaleness and vaginas. So, like I said, I pulled a book off my shelf. I have so many books, but I grabbed this one, which I've been reading over the past few years whenever I get inspired to read about women's issues. It's called The Great Cosmic Mother. I don't know if this is going to be backwards for you or not, but it's called The Great Cosmic Mother. It's by those two women. Whoops, there we go. I don't know if it's backwards. Monica Stew, it's a Norwegian looking name, and Barbara Moore. So I've been reading this book for a few years. I haven't read the whole thing, but I pulled up a page that, now again, as a disclaimer, These women are, I don't know if they're doctors, but they are involved in anthropology. This is such an old book, so I don't know how updated this particular edition is. But these women know what they're talking about. They're not just writing they're not just writing about hot topic or hair trigger issues just to rile some feathers. They actually, I think, are anthropologists or doctors, I don't know. So, yeah, it's just such an old book. There's a chapter called The Original Woman, Witch, Rebel, Midwife, and Healer. And I think I've read this chapter before. So there's a bit that I want this to be just like a food for thought or a discussion topic. It opens up, what would it have been like if patriarchy had never happened? To get an idea, we have to comprehend the first law of matriarchy. Women control our own bodies. And the thing that I thought of was, wow, patriarchy is about power, right? Power over power over the family, power over the woman. Patriarchy is very dominant, very controlling. That's what you think of when you think of patriarchy, right? Father knows best, man's in charge, man of the house, head of the family, head of the household. In charge, right? Men. That's patriarchy. All matriarchy is centered around is women control our own bodies. It's a very stark difference, isn't it? Patriarchy is control over everything else. Matriarchy is control over ourselves. I think that's quite significant, actually. I would love to hear my husband's perspective on this. But isn't that interesting? Patriarchy is we're on top, we're going to control all y'all. Matriarchy is I just want to control myself. I just want to be queen of myself and have power over myself. That's matriarchy. Maybe that's truly what female empowerment is. If you remember the video I made, paganism, the one that was posted before this one, I honestly don't remember what I named it. Gender roles in religion. I mentioned female empowerment in that, but maybe it's just as simple as I want to have power over my own body. That's all that is. It's not down with the phallus and phallic oppression and men go cook your own dinner because mama's taking a night off. That's not even what female empowerment is, actually. I mean, it is, that's included in that, but the bare bones of matriarchy is I'm taking care of myself. I just want power over myself. And I agree with that 100%. Okay, so continuing. Water. Children. Oh, hang on. So, first law of matriarchy. Women control our own bodies. This would seem a basic premise of any fully evolved human culture, which is why primate patriarchy is based on its denial. Children were generally welcome in matrifocal society, and there was enough food for all, and children could help in agricultural and craft work. When childbearing is not a punishment but self-chosen, and when raising children is not an economic survival disaster, most of us enjoy being around children. Most men do too. In pre-patriarchal cultures, children were raised communally, not closed up within 4 nuclear walls, not as property, but as the fruit of all. Most of all, childbearing and child-raising were a part of each woman's life, a nourishing as well as nurturing part, but not her whole life. When women control our bodies, our daily lives, and our environment, and our goals, we don't inflict on ourselves the terrible split between motherhood and self-realization that patriarchy and the nuclear family inflict on us. Wow. This split is a structural one. In indigenous to male-dominated environments, in matriarchy, women could be mothers and also enjoy other energies and interests. Men who envied women our capacity to bear children and also do other things turned around and invented patriarchy, in which motherhood is structured as an all-consuming burden. Men knew they could never bear children, but they could try to keep us from doing anything else. Okay. So that's just food for thought. I'm not saying that as a fact. This is their experience. That's what the writers think. I think that parts of this book go a little extreme, but I think it's good to read the extreme parts because you can find balance. You can pick out of it. So they are making valid points, I think, to a degree. And it's mentioning how, let me just briefly go through this. When women practice their own medicine, thus controlling their own bodies, such a state could not come into existence. And they're talking about how when women could control their own bodies, pre-patriarchy, they had power over when they bared children, how many children they had. They could inflict, I mean, that's not in this book, but I know from other sources that women could inflict abortion or miscarriage herbally. Witchcraft. Ancient witchcraft. Women had control over themselves. Which, of course, when the church came through, which was dominated by a male god and a male son of God, matriarchy got squashed like a bug. And 1,500 years later, we have our society today where women can't even say vagina on the house floor. So, my extremist, holy shit liberal view of this is that I think that in some way, shape, or form, even maybe subconsciously, men are threatened by vaginas. Ready? Menstruation, periods, bleeding, uterus, ovaries, vagina, those are not dirty words. And yet, if I were to say to my, this actually happened, and it's happened to me many times, and I'm sure you're shaking your head going, yes. You say I'm on my period, or I'm PMSing, or I have cramps, or I'm bleeding, or I need tampons. You say that in male company, they get all nervous and uncomfortable. Why is that? Men should not get uncomfortable. Those are legit bodily functions. We have to deal with their bodily functions, and you know what I'm talking about when I say men's bodily functions. What's so foreign, and what's the phobia? I don't understand. Men are threatened by women. I have a man that could back me up on that. I have many. So that's just what I wanted to talk about. Vaginas. Have a nice day.